Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the ShopLogic podcast. I am your host, Adrienne. What is ShopLogic? Welcome to the place where all things pertaining to ethical consumerism are discussed. Maybe you call it mindful consumerism, conscious consumerism, whatever you may choose to call it. It is your source to learn how what we buy affects you, others, animals, and the planet. ShopLogic is a website, an app, a podcast that you're currently listening to, and soon to be ethical brand certifier. It's essentially a database to answer all of your questions about the things we shop for. Come on this journey to learn how to buy better, how to read labels, and be aware of how purchases impact our health, environment, animals, and laborers. It's not just about being plant-based, vegan, and health conscious. I discuss anything and everything we shop for, including food, personal care products, cosmetics, fashion, and much, much more. So the ultimate goal here is learning together how to buy better, not being so clueless as to what we support with our money and the choices we make each time we buy any and all products. If you think about it, so much suffering is rooted in consumerism. And how is that? You're probably asking. Well, it's through the foods we eat, which can be sustaining or destroying to our health, through the ingredients and materials we buy that come from livestock animals, cows, pigs, chickens, etc., who are suffering through exploitation and factory farming, through the toiletries and cosmetics we purchase that are tested on animals, through petroleum and palm oil ingredients in products that destroy our planet, and other aspects of environmental sustainability like deforestation, water and carbon footprints, etc. Our buying choices are going to either support or defund companies behind all of it, which is why it's best to know what brands to support, what to watch out for, and put back on the shelf, and how each small choice you and I make ultimately makes a big difference. Aside from being your podcast host, I'm the creator of ShopLogic. I'm passionate about providing ethical insight for others and sharing what I've learned so together we can make better buying choices. On the last episode, episode 6 of ShopLogic, I discussed New Year's goals, getting fit, Veganuary, going vegan, question and answers, what's in your gym bag, featuring the dangers of deodorant, ethical implications of activewear brands, flawed versus favorite fitness foods, and the Game Changers documentary. So if any of that piques your interest, give episode 6 a listen. On today's agenda, we've got what's in your gym bag, featuring hydration information, THERMOS versus water bottles, dieting trends, food delivery subscriptions, and unnatural products that promise weight loss. As you can see, between the two episodes now in this new year of 2026, we've got a running theme of getting fit, getting in shape, going to the gym, what you might be purchasing in terms of clothing and accessories, and what you might be consuming physically in terms of your health for foods and dietary needs and restrictions and whatever. To get right into the first topic of hydration, I'm going to compare sports drinks versus hydration packets versus water versus coconut water and other sources of electrolytes and hydration, including brands, maybe some good brands and some bad brands, and the pros and cons of both that ethical consumers like you and I are interested in. Number one, obviously, plain water. That would be my go-to choice for staying hydrated at the gym. There's no calories, no sugar, no additives, perfect for everyday hydration. It's widely available and inexpensive, so you don't have to be concerned about artificial additives, sweeteners, or colors. The cons of water might be that it's limited in electrolytes. When you are exercising, you're burning through electrolytes and need that to replenish your energy and overall health. And for some people, they find water to be difficult to gulp down because it simply doesn't have a flavor or a taste. They think it's kind of boring compared to the alternatives. But water is literally the best, of course, for daily hydration, desk work, light activity, or heat exposure. Comparing it to sports drinks, some examples might be Gatorade, Powerade, Body Armor. The advantages of sports drinks would be they replace water with sodium, potassium, sometimes carbs. This would be beneficial during prolonged intense exercise. It's quick energy, helps maintain blood glucose and fuel muscles, and the electrolyte balance is there. So sodium, believe it or not, enhances water absorption during heavy sweating. But of course, the cons is that they are very, very high in sugar. Many contain added sugars that can contribute to your weight gain, which is completely the opposite of what we are trying to do at the gym in most cases. With high sugar also comes dental erosion, not good for the teeth, metabolic effects when consumed without intense exercise by typical people, and of course, the artificial ingredients. If you ever flip around a Gatorade or a Powerade and you start to read through the ingredients, you are going to be like, what? Because a lot of them just sound so insanely unnatural. So the artificial ingredients would be in terms of the colors, flavors, and the sweeteners. So a lot of these are very undesirable for the health-focused consumer. Even though these sports drinks brands are touted for being good for competitive sports athletes, endurance training, long hot sessions or heavy sweat days, what have you, I would definitely not opt for a sports drink unless it's a very rare occasion. Coconut water is another alternative. So this is something that's actually a natural source of electrolytes. It is very high in potassium, even more than sports drinks. Lower sugar, less added sugar than a lot of commercial sports drinks. The sweetness just comes naturally in most cases. No artificial additives, minimal processing, antioxidants, and micronutrients such as magnesium, calcium, vitamin C. The cons to coconut water is that it's lower sodium, so that may not replace the sodium sufficiently for really intense exercise. The taste, not everyone likes the taste of coconut water, and the cost, it's usually a little more expensive than water or sports drinks. Coconut water is something I like to consume for electrolytes, and the potassium and magnesium, I would prefer coconut water over a sports drink any day. And then we have the newly popular hydration packets. So these are those like electrolyte powders or tablets that you like mix with water, put it in your thermos, what have you. Are they effective? Are they healthy? Are they good for you? Let's find out. So the pros, you can adjust the strength by how much you want to mix into water. In other words, it's very customizable. There's a variety of formulations like sugar-free, low sugar, clean sweeteners, or accommodating your needs. So there's a lot on the market. It just depends. And it's convenient because you can travel with it pretty easily, stick it in your gym bag. But the cons would be ingredient quality varies. So I have noticed more times than not, some contain artificial flavors and sweeteners. There's packaging waste to consider. The little single serve packets would be a single-use plastic. So it's just kind of an additional waste when there's no good compostable option. And a lot of people get enough electrolytes from food and just balanced hydration. The hydration packets, I tend to buy less and less. As I've noticed, most of the brands have the number one ingredient as like sugar. And I'm like, no, thank you. Or, water is better or coconut water. It's as simple as that. There are some other natural electrolyte options to stay hydrated and after your workout or during your workout. So homemade formulas would be like lemon or lime juice. You can mix that with salt and water or coconut water. And this can provide sodium, potassium, and fluid without any sugar or artificial additives. So that's something I actually like to just do lemon juice, like from a freshly squeezed lemon and water, and mix that together as like a super basic sugar-free lemonade, if you will. I don't know, lemon water just tastes good, so why not? If I added some salt to it, that would make it more of an electrolyte type of drink, but I don't do that so often. Maybe I should start. And actually, from fruit juices and plant sources, you could do something like watermelon juice, orange juice, and even maple water can help hydration and provide natural electrolytes and antioxidants. Additional ethical and health considerations pertaining to the whole hydration theme here would be the ingredients and processing. Many mainstream sports drinks have high added sugars, artificial colors and flavors, and it's just something that a health-oriented type of person, or if you're trying to lean in that direction, you would want to avoid. Some more clean electrolyte powders use natural sweeteners. So if you see ingredients like stevia or monk fruit, those are actually more on the natural side. And if I had to say, quote unquote, healthier side. So the health risks, if you regularly consume sugary sports drinks, that can contribute to your dental health or lack thereof. It could really do a number on your teeth. It could actually cause weight gain and spark metabolic issues. Sustainability. As the mindful consumer, we also want to be cautious of the packaging. So here we would have a case of plastic packaging. So ready-to-drink bottles and single-serve packets all contribute to waste. Therefore, it is best to consider recyclable, compostable options. Coconut water, you are going to want to look for organic practices and also fair trade sourcing. This is because, if you think about it, coconuts often come from the tropics. It can come from countries like Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, places like that. Countries that may not have a lot of workers' rights in place compared to more developed nations in the world. That's why it's super critical to make sure whenever you buy any type of exotic ingredient, like an exotic fruit, like coconuts, for example, that you want to be sure if you see fair trade as an option, definitely opt for that, because we want to make sure these people are being taken care of, that they're paid decent amounts, that they are not using children as their workers. Even in some cases, they've trained monkeys. Yeah, actual monkeys to run up trees and grab the coconuts down as an easier way of gathering coconuts for the industry, which sounds completely insane, but is a very real thing. You can look that up online. So something to be cautious of when it comes to coconuts. So the bottom line here is that for everyday hydration, it's going to be water. Water is the simplest and the healthiest, the cheapest. I mean, you've probably got a filtration system set up in your house already. So it's truly the best. And if you want that electrolyte boost, coconut water is the best, or do-it-yourself formulas like we talked about with the lemon and the salt in your water. Try that out. For heavy sweating or super endurance, sports drinks and hydration packets might make sense, but you gotta consider all those other aspects and ingredients that are not so nice. And when it comes to ethics, you want to prioritize your brands with clean ingredients, transparent sourcing, low additive packaging, and ideally recyclable, compostable materials. So speaking of water, I feel like I've just talked about liquids so much, but we are going to move on to the next topic, which is water bottles versus thermoses. I think you already know where I'm going with this, but you might be surprised. So I'm going to discuss the health and environmental downsides of bottled water, followed by the advantages of reusable bottles and thermoses, and which ethical brand picks that align with organic, low carbon, and plant-based values are all going to tie into the thermos brands. So coming in hot, we're going to go straight into the health and environmental downsides of bottled water. Plastic pollution and waste is at the top of the list. So most single-use plastic bottles are made from PET plastic. That is a type of plastic that can take hundreds of years to decompose in landfills. A huge portion never gets recycled and ends up polluting soil, waterways, oceans. As these plastics break down, they can leach harmful chemicals into the environment. So here, we're not even just considering it, oh, it's unsightly and it's just going to hang out in the ground and take forever to decompose. No, it's going to affect wildlife. It's going to affect you and me even, because when those microplastics leach into the soil, leach into our waterways, our water systems, it becomes a very difficult, if not impossible task to remove. And everyone these days, thankfully, or not thankfully, but thankfully they are aware of microplastics, which unfortunately are all around us. Studies have found microplastics in bottled water, which may carry health risks, including inflammation and chemical exposure. If you just drink water from a plastic bottle, boom, you could be ingesting microplastics right there. It doesn't even have to necessarily be decomposing. Also, you may have heard of BPS or BPAs. And what is that pertaining to water bottles or plastics in general? It's an industrial chemical used to harden plastics and make epoxy resins. It can be found in food can linings, water bottles, and thermal receipts. It's an endocrine disruptor, so it actually mimics hormones, potentially causing reproductive development and other issues. So that is another reason to avoid drinking out of water bottles. And there's also lax regulation and sourcing issues. Bottled water often isn't held to the same stringent testing standards as tap water, and not all products actually come from pristine springs. Sometimes it's just municipally treated water in a plastic bottle. So do not fall for that label that may be depicting a nice, organic looking, natural mountain trickle, whatever. That is not really, you're not like drinking melted snow here, people. And lest we forget the high carbon footprint. So manufacturing, transporting, and refrigerating bottled water consumes significant energy and contributes to carbon emissions and resource depletions. That is something that you might not think about all the time. Just transporting all of that, refrigerating it, and manufacturing it from the factories, all of this is taking an insane amount of energy when the much more viable, sustainable option, eco-friendly, what have you, is to have your tap water and then use a filtration system like a Brita filter or those filters that come built in on your fridge. That's probably the most eco-friendly option out there. So here are advantages of reusable bottles and thermoses. So moving to the better option. If you switch to reusable containers, the multiple benefits might include reducing plastic waste. A high quality reusable bottle can literally replace hundreds to thousands of single-use plastic bottles over its lifetime. And I don't know if you are kind of a freak or nerd like me and you see at the airport, at the gym, at these different public places, when you go to, it's like a water fountain, like old school, push in the thing water fountain, but also they have that area where you can slide your thermos under, and it has like a number system that keeps track. And it's like, so far we have saved 2,700,000 or plastic water bottles from being put into a landfill. I love those things because I'm just like, it makes me so happy to see that's how much plastic has been saved simply by filling up on your own. There's no need to keep using these single-use materials and water bottles, what have you. Even if you do, take the water bottle. What I always do when I travel and go through airport security, it kills me to see all of these water bottles like thrown into the trash can. So all you got to do when you go to the airport, if you have a water with you and it's in a water bottle, like a plastic water bottle, just drink it or throw out the water, but keep the plastic water bottle, because when you get through security, you could just use that as your own quote unquote thermos of the day and fill it up. So I'm just baffled that more travelers don't really consider doing that. But if you have to, sure, if you're going to use a plastic water bottle, do it, but then like continue to use it a couple more times. And that way you can at least cut out the plastic slightly. But with thermoses also comes a lower health risk. So bottle thermoses made from stainless steel, glass, or safe plant-based materials do not leach harmful chemicals into your water and therefore you. And you're going to save resources and cut emissions. Reusing durable bottles significantly lowers carbon emissions and the environmental footprint associated with the production and disposal compared with repeated single-use bottles. Also, super cost effective. Refilling reusable bottles with tap or filtered water is much, much cheaper than buying bottled water regularly. And temperature control, hence the word thermos, right? So an insulated bottle and thermos keeps drinks hot or cold for long periods, making them more versatile and reducing the need for other disposable cups or containers. If you like your drinks icy cold, then thermoses are obviously wonderful. It will keep your beverage so chilled all day at the gym or running errands. So some ethical and sustainable reusable bottle picks are as follows. We have Clean Canteen, Sweat Bottle, that's S' wheat, WHEAT bottle, Yoloha Yoga bottle, Co-op Cycles plant-based water bottle, Mountain Flow plant-based water bottle, Eco Vessel, and many more, which can actually be found on the ShopLogic app. So if you save the ShopLogic app to your home screen on your phone, super easy to do. Go to the ShopLogic website, click on free app, the button in the upper right corner, and you can figure it out from there. It's essentially a database. The app is a database of all kinds of brands. So you go to the brand section and you're going to go to fitness, and then it's going to, use the search engine, type in thermos or water bottle, what have you. And boom, up will pop up so many different brands, and you can compare their eco status, find out if they are a vegan company, if they are eco-friendly, that sort of thing. So my suggestion to you to discover even more wonderful, ethical, sustainable brands is to visit the ShopLogic app. So back to dieting. We are now at the beginning of the new year, and everyone is focusing on new you, new year, new you, hitting the gym, trying to get fit, etc. So we are also going to be dieting. And the dieting trends, oh my gosh, there are so many current diet trends and fads, including keto, Whole30, paleo, vegan, all kinds of diets to lose weight. And we are going to be talking about what are the pros and cons with those. Also, of course, include ethical and sustainable considerations. Spoiler alert, plant-based vegan is probably going to be the best one in terms of health, animals, the environment, etc. So first up, keto. What is it? It's a very low-carb, high-fat diet that forces the body to burn fat for fuel instead of the carbs. This comes from the word ketosis. So here are the pros. It's quick, often dramatic, initial, keyword initial, weight loss, reduces insulin spikes, may help with certain metabolic issues, and some people report reduced hunger or appetite. The cons, it's extremely hard to maintain long term. It is unsustainable in the sense that you just can't keep doing it. Like your body cannot keep it up. It's not going to sustain like this. It may cause nutrient deficiencies like fiber, hello, very important, and other vitamins. Also, this high saturated fat intake may negatively affect your heart. And keto flu, what is that? That is digestive issues and energy slumps, which are common side effects. So it's traditionally high in animal products like meat, and therefore has a higher environmental footprint. Not good. Plant-based keto variants exist, but are more complex to plan. So keto is just all in all, not a great diet, mostly because you just can't keep it up. You can't keep doing it. It's not very practical. So what is Whole30? A 30-day elimination diet means no sugar, alcohol, grains, legumes, dairy, or processed foods. Some of the pros would include it encourages cutting out ultra-processed foods, and it can reset eating habits and increase awareness of food triggers. But the cons are going to be that it's super restrictive. It's not even meant to be permanent. So it's kind of like, well, what's the point? And weight loss may result from the overall calorie reduction rather than specific effects. It excludes nutrient-rich foods like legumes and whole grains, which are actually a good thing to include in your diet, not cut out, which this Whole30 does. So Whole30 can be pretty restrictive, and it is really not meant to continue. Just like keto, it's hard to keep it up. So it's like, why start that for like a quick weight loss and then you're just going to gain it back? It's like, no, you don't want to gain it back. You want something that's going to endure and stand the test of time, and that's easy enough for you to maintain. Next up, we have paleo. Paleo is short for Paleolithic diet. It's essentially foods presumed available to the Paleolithic humans. Cavemen, lean meats, fish, fruit, veggies, nuts. It excludes grains, legumes, dairy. Pros would be it encourages whole foods and eliminates processed junk. Many people report feeling better in terms of digestion and energy. And the cons are going to be that it excludes healthy foods like beans, lentils, whole grains. Can be expensive due to emphasis on quality meat and not strongly supported by evolutionary science. Modern food availability is very different. So just because it's modern doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that we're now able to cultivate foods in a way that we once could not as cavemen. So in terms of ethics and sustainability, it's a high reliance on animal products, which is going to increase that carbon and water footprint, and paleo ethical concerns if meat sourcing isn't sustainable or welfare oriented. So not a fan of that one due to the high meat. So intermittent fasting, I guess, is what some people call it. I've heard of this. What is it? What is intermittent fasting? It's eating within a specific time window or alternate day fasting. Some pros can be it can simplify eating structure. Some studies suggests that it's improved insulin sensitivity and weight loss. I've seen other headlines that claim that when you do intermittent fasting, your body is also attacking some quote unquote bad cells. So I guess it has some health advantages. However, the cons, it's not suitable for everyone, especially those with certain medical conditions, and it can trigger overeating or disordered patterns if not managed mindfully, time restricting. So intermittent fasting is not really a diet per se. You're just like not eating for long periods of time in between certain hours of the day. I don't even know if we can call that a diet technically, but some people claim it works. But it's like, what are you eating? So they don't really include that in the intermittent fasting world. They're pretty much just like, eat whatever, just starve yourself for certain parts of the day. I'm going to pass on that one. So low-fat diet is kind of a boring name, but it's a diet that exists. It's just simply limiting fat intake with the goal of lower calorie density. The advantages would be it's historically popular and can improve cholesterol markers, may help calorie control. Cons would be you're reducing some healthy fats, so avocado, nuts, and seeds, unnecessarily, because those can be good in moderation. So a low-fat diet, in terms of ethics, it could be either plant-based or animal-based. It depends on actual food choices. Now we get right to the big one here. My favorite, the one that I do and practice because it is sustainable, not only in the environmental sense, but it's sustainable in terms of like you can keep it up for long periods of time. And I've seen the advantages. So lo and behold, we now have, drumroll please, the plant-based vegan diet. So this is why many experts consider this the best of all. It is a focus on whole, minimally processed plant foods, including vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, nuts, and seeds. A vegan diet means that it is going to exclude any and all animal products, meat, dairy, eggs. Some core benefits would be there's a strong evidence for improved heart health, lower blood pressure, reduced risk of type 2 diabetes, often naturally low in saturated fat, and higher in beneficial fiber, antioxidants, and phytochemicals. Weight loss tends to be gradual, sustainable, and associated with long-term improved health markers. And it's super nutrient dense, so it's going to be rich in vitamins, minerals, fiber, and beneficial plant compounds. When it's well planned, it supports overall metabolic health. And now keep in mind, this is plant-based vegan. So a combination of like high fruits, vegetables, plants, whole foods, you name it, combined with vegan, meaning zero animal products, because a vegan diet all by itself can totally be junk food. It could be chips all day long, potato chips or something like that. That's not really healthy. So what I'm talking about now is plant-based and vegan. Some more pros, high in fiber, keeps you fuller longer, reduces the risk of chronic diseases like heart disease and cancer, greater dietary variety and plant nutrient diversity, can be tailored to personal preferences and cultural foods. Here's some cons. It requires mindful planning. You gotta make sure you get B12, iron, omega-3s, and protein, but all of those are very easy to do. Trust me, it usually just requires a multivitamin and making sure you're eating enough beans and lentils and spinach. So very easy. You may need supplementation. Social or cultural eating habits may require adaptation. So if you come from the South, like I do, you're not going to be eating fried chicken anymore. So that could be seen as a downside, is that you're not fulfilling your cultural background, and some people have a hard time breaking away from traditions and what their friends and family are eating, but in my case, not an issue. Gave up KFC a long time ago. Ethical and sustainability considerations for the plant-based vegan diet. Animal welfare, hello, yes, that is why I signed up for it in the first place. Vegan diets avoid animal exploitation, which many consider a core ethical standard. Amen to that. Reduced demand for industrial animal agriculture lowers animal suffering. Environment and climate. So plant-based diets are going to use less land, less water, produce fewer greenhouse gas emissions, and reduce deforestation and biodiversity loss. Animal agriculture, particularly the beef and dairy industry, is one of the largest contributors to climate change and ecological strain. Okay, let that sink in. Food global security, also something people don't think about. Feeding crops directly to people instead of through the livestock is more efficient and can help address food scarcity. So, if we are able to feed all of these cows, oh my God, how much do they eat every single day? All of these grains and crops and water. But then we have people starving in other parts of the world. It's like, let's not be feeding the animals so much food that other humans can benefit from. So, the bottom line, which diet is best? It depends on your priorities, but of course, if you ask me, I am obviously going to say the plant based diet is best for the ethical consumer. So you may be thinking, oh, if I'm going to start a new diet, I don't have a lot of time. That might require some planning. So you might have given food delivery subscriptions a thought. Well, now I'm going to compare some food delivery subscriptions for health, sustainability, ethics. Are any of them vegan? I'm going to include aspects like if they're eco-friendly. Also, what about all that plastic packaging? Are the ingredients even local? And the freshness, I mean, that's kind of questionable, right? So let's move along to our food delivery subscriptions. Here are some aspects to consider when you choose a food delivery service. Dietary alignment, is it vegan, vegetarian, omnivore, keto, gluten-free, what have you. Health and nutrition, are meals balanced and calorie appropriate? Are the ingredients processed, allergens, if you have any? The sustainability, plant versus meat emphasis, organic produce, is it locally sourced? All that packaging. Oh my gosh, the plastic, is any of it recyclable, reusable? Also, freshness and quality, is it like a lot of shelf life food, a longer shelf life? I don't know. Chilled versus frozen. And seasonality. Are these ingredients in the season? Cost and accessibility. Yeah. Price per meal. This is probably going to cha-ching add up. Subscription commitment. Are you like locked in? And delivery fees and flexibility. Maybe they offer a free trial or a discounted trial. And ethics beyond the plate. We're looking at animal welfare, corporate environmental commitments, and community impact. Like, are they even supporting small farms or food equity programs? So, here are some pros and cons of the most common food delivery subscriptions. Vegan, eco focused meal kits are going to be ones like Purple Carrot. So, it's 100% plant based, a variety of recipes, and fresh produce. However, the cons would be often uses single-use plastic packaging, sourcing may not always be local or organic, and definitely higher cost per meal. Then you have organic meal kits with vegan options, so it's not fully vegan, but you can choose to have vegan. These would be like Green Chef, so they use organic, non-GMO ingredients. Generally strong recyclable, compostable packaging, vegan and plant-powered meal plan is available. Carbon footprint offset initiatives, meaning that maybe they do, I don't know, like solar panels on their factories, or they could have EV powered vehicles, delivery vehicles, or they could be planting trees. These are all ways to offset your carbon footprint. And the cons are going to be plans are not always vegan, packaging isn't zero waste, and often much pricier due to organic ingredients. Then you're going to have the mainstream meal kits. Does have some vegan or healthier choices. This is going to be HelloFresh. So pros would be there's a broad variety of meal types for different diets, well organized, convenient, flexible scheduling. Cons, not fully vegan. Frequent single-use packaging, less focus on local and organic sourcing. Then you have prepared plant-based services. So this would be Splendid, Spoon, and Ready Meals. So it is convenient, often plant-based, quick, healthy eating, but higher cost, less variety over time, and packaging still an issue. Purple Carrot, 100% vegan. That would be probably my top pick. Green Chef has vegan options. HelloFresh, very limited vegan. And here are some that are very notable mentions because they are vegan and sustainable. So here are some services to consider. Splendid Spoon is 100% plant-based, focusing on smoothies and soups. So that's why it's probably not every single meal, but it has 100% recyclable packaging, not traditional cooking kits, but ready to eat meals. Also, there's a company called Sunbasket, which is customizable meal kits with seasonal, organic, responsibly sourced ingredients and fully recyclable packaging, and some vegan options. Cook Unity is prepared meals with recyclable, reusable packaging, many vegan options. So my personal opinion, I do not use any food delivery subscription. I prefer cooking, meal prep. That's all you got to do, people. Like, you don't have to spend a fortune on this stuff. And I know it's convenient and easy when you're thinking it's much healthier and better than fast food or, these like quick microwavable meals, what have you. But it is still, at the end of the day, healthier and better overall to just cook for yourself. And the final category of today's podcast episode would be unnatural diet products. So this dieting industry is just out of control. They profit on products that promise weight loss. And I'm going to talk about the ethics and health of these unnatural dieting injections and pills. Do they work? What are the side effects? What are the pros and cons? Are they even vegan, tested on animals, dangerous to human health? Will it even last, or is it a temporary solution? My commercial feed and social feed is just inundated with all of these ads for injections and pills and all this stuff to lose weight. So a lot of times the dieting industry is built around the promise of weight loss. It sells hope and urgency, like lose 10 pounds in a week or no exercise needed. And, some type of weird solution, like it's just a magic pill, it's just not the healthier and better option. That goes without saying. So the companies generate hundreds of billions of dollars annually and tons of marketing scams, all this stuff. So you might have heard like GLP-1 receptor, like I think they call it semaglutide. So brand names would be like Ozempic, Wegovy, and tirzepatide. I did not say that right. They do work for many people when used as prescribed. And yeah, okay, you lose weight. Often 10, 20% of your body weight over time when you combine it with diet and exercise. So it's not claiming to be magic or anything like that. But let's get to the health side effects. Common side effects: nausea, vomiting, dieting, fatigue, headache, GI comfort, gallbladder issues, blockages, thyroid abnormalities. It's just not a natural solution. Prescription weight loss drugs are not really vegan. They, in the sense that they conduct animal testing during drug development. If you think about that, they always, think of that like laboratory where they have all the mice and the rats and the guinea pigs and the rabbits and all these poor little animals that are just being injected with things and studied to try to get an idea of what it would do to us humans. So that is not a good aspect. Also, these things are super temporary. It is not a lasting effect. So health professionals emphasize pairing medications with long-term lifestyle changes, your diet, your physical activity, sleep, etc. So I would stay away from anything that unnatural. When you're simply looking for a quick and easy fix, it's usually the long and difficult route that you have to take, which, it's unpleasant, but it's going to do you good in the long-term overall big picture. So that was the episode for today, episode 7 of ShopLogic. I will leave you on a quote before I end this episode with things that pertain to being very health-minded and very conscious about getting in shape, trying to improve yourself, fulfill all that potential you have. A health journey is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Eat to fuel your body, not to feed your emotions. When you start eating foods without labels, you no longer need to count calories. And before I say goodbye, do not forget to check out the ShopLogic website, the ShopLogic app, and be sure to follow ShopLogic on socials like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and of course, subscribe to this Spotify podcast for weekly episodes to learn how we can buy better. If you have children or know of someone who does, I've written and illustrated 4 kids' books. Now I call it the Conscious Kids Collection. That is right. Written by Adrienne Marie, actually written and illustrated. So you can check those out. Just Google it. My first one is called The Roots of Our Food. The second one is Too Much Stuff. The third one is I Do My Share Because I Care. And the fourth one, Reasons We Are Vegans. All of these books pertain to ethical consumerism and teach little ones values like mindfulness, questioning where we get things and the origins of where products come from, and having appreciation for the laborers that contribute to that, mindful eating, minimalism, eco-friendly living, all that good stuff. So be sure to check those out as well. And as always, thank you for listening. Bye.